Hi everybody, welcome to Shivers. Today we are doing a movie review on the new movie The Monkey that came out on February 21st. This is a gory, comedic, fun time. This is the latest of Osgood Perkins, who is the person who created Longlegs. So the expectations and hopes for this movie are there from the get-go. This is a relatively star-studded cast, so we also have a pretty high level of production, but I have a lot of thoughts on this movie. So if you want to hear my thoughts in the storyline itself, keep on listening. If you want to fast forward to the end to just hear the review, spoiler free, absolutely please do so. So getting into the actual storyline of it, we are following Hal and Billy, who are twins, and they are being raised by a single mother named Lois. Their father, for all we know, up and left. He left all of his belongings behind. We see him for a quick second in the very beginning trying to sell this toy monkey. So this toy monkey is a monkey that has drums, and they drum on the actual drum. It's pretty big. It's like almost American Girl doll size, but this monkey has what seems like magical powers. So anytime that you turn the dial on the back of this monkey, somebody that you're either thinking about or somebody that is in your vicinity is going to die. So this is very Final Destination coded, essentially, movie, because all of the deaths that do occur from this monkey are so egregious that this movie has now turned into nothing but just a dark comedy movie. The horror aspect of it is completely washed away from the ridiculousness of everything that goes on. More on that in a little bit. So Hal and Billy are being raised by Lois. She's very direct with them. She's very adult with them. And the theme that we get beat into our heads over and over and over about this movie is that death is random. Death comes from everybody. Accidents happen, shit happens, and so be it. That's life. So we have a multiple occasion situation where so many characters, even side characters, are saying the exact same thing. This one character, his only line is, "Shit, man, that sucks," to everything that happens. So even when he dies, it is just, "Shit, man, that sucks." So again, the comedy level is certainly there. So Hal and Billy already know death is inevitable. It's going to come for all of us. It's going to happen. But what we then find out is that they start going through some of their dad's things, being curious children, wanting to know who their father could have been. They come across this monkey. Hal takes it into his room, turns the dial, nothing happens. The next day he comes home from school. Billy is doing nothing but bullying Hal basically every opportunity that he gets. And it's very stereotypical. You have Billy in the Letterman jacket, in the jean jacket, and you have Hal with his cute little glasses sitting reading his books. So it very much is the evil twin, good twin type of vibe. But we have Hal now coming home from school, upset with his brother, and he looks at this monkey and he says, I just wish that Billy would just die. I just wish he would die. And so instead of Billy dying, he turns the key and then the monkey starts drumming. And anytime that the drumsticks hit the drum of the monkey that's in his possession, that means that somebody's going to die. So Billy comes home from school. He's looking at his mother, and these blood starts coming from her eyes and from her ears. And she has this boomerang brain hemorrhage that happens to 1 in 44 million people. So it's pretty evident that Hal accidentally killed his mother, and because of the monkey. So what we find out later as we get more lore about this monkey is the idea that you cannot ask it for requests, you cannot tell it what to do. It's going to do what it's going to do. So the best case scenario is to leave it alone, not twist the key, not do anything. So now we are at Lois's funeral, and Billy sort of snaps and he's like, "Mom, wake up, Mom, wake up." So again, I think that this movie could have been so good if we really leaned into that. You know, out of all of the scares in the movie, that's the scariest part, is this kid who not only had a single mother, but now has no parents. He has a little brother by 3 minutes that he does nothing but bully. Now he's about to be raised for the rest of his childhood by his delinquent uncle and aunt, and now they have to move to Maine. So there's a lot of fear in that. There's a lot of fear in the unknown. And again, I wish that they would lean into more of the melancholy and the sadness that brings from that. Thinking about death as this grieving process, and if you don't grieve appropriately, if you don't have the support, what is the horror that stems off of that? Rather than the comedic perspective of shit happens. So now we have Hal and Billy at their aunt and uncle's house. They twist the key of the monkey once more, and their uncle is trampled to death by 1,000 horses. So badly so that his body is now turned into mush, what looks like just hamburger meat and spaghetti. It's wild. So again, all of these deaths are very Final Destination-esque. They are over the top. They are ridiculous. And so that brings in an element of entertainment as well as the comedy. But in terms of the storyline, it kind of falls short from there. For me in particular, I have a twin sister. And so growing up, we had our differences and, you know, didn't have a great time in high school and middle school together. But as adults now, there's just a level of understanding that we're adults, you know, everything is the way that it is. And so if we're going to be different people, we're going to be different people, and we have to accept that. In this situation, Hal and Billy are now 25 years older. We're now fast forwarding. Billy has held on to this vendetta of Hal accidentally killing their mother all of these years ago, and has made it his life's purpose and life's mission to somehow find this monkey back that they threw down the bottom of the well near their aunt and uncle's house. And he wants to get this monkey back and just essentially beg it to kill his brother. Again, the timing of that is, one, what bothers me, because you had the monkey, you had your opportunity, you threw it down the well, and then you were seemingly fine. Now you are 25 years later, and now all of a sudden, it's a problem. It's kind of coming back into your life. It doesn't line up. It doesn't make sense. So now we have Aunt Ida, who dies this very gruesome death because Billy has now found possession of the monkey once again. So he starts twisting it, essentially begging it to kill his brother. It doesn't work. So all of these people are dying in the little town of Maine. In the background, the entire time, we're getting snippets of only locals here, or locals are born and die here. So there's a lot of foreshadowing in the background, but we also are following this side story of Hal. And Hal has had this kid who he does not talk to. He only sees once a year. And he's very much a distant father. So again, another serious storyline that we could have followed, but we didn't. And so we end up getting only snippets of this serious story mixed in with this ridiculousness of everything else that's going on. So Hal and his son Petey are supposed to be going to this horror theme park. Instead, they have to go to Aunt Ida's house because the only person who they know is around is Hal. Hal does not know where Billy is. So they go to this house, and the realtor opens this closet, gets shot in the face. And so Hal knows that the monkey is back because of just the ridiculousness of the death. He's trying to have good intentions and protect Petey and keep him safe, but all at the expense of keeping his arm completely locked out, and Petey saying, you know, you may as well not exist and not really even be a dad. So we have the elements of a father who is there, but is just as distant as if a father never came home. Again, another deeper storyline that could have been explored. The grieving of a father who is still alive. So anyway, Hal then ends up finding Billy. Billy again admits that it has been his life's work, life's purpose to re-find this monkey and kill Hal for killing their mother all of those years ago, which again doesn't make any sense from a perspective of actual timeline. We are now 25 years later. Hal has said that he and Billy have not spoken for the last 5 to 10 years. So they're not even in each other's lives. There's no relevance anymore. I'm maybe from the assumption that Billy is this lonesome adult and would love to just have a conversation with his mother. I don't know. None of that is explained. None of that is sussed out, other than the very much stereotyped evil twin, good twin, especially all the way down to just the looks of Billy. Both Billy and Hal are played by Theo James, who is a wonderful actor. I think that he did a really great job. But the whole thing felt like a play. It felt very silly. I wanted to take it seriously because the story itself is a good story, but it's not there. It's just not there. So I really enjoy the gore. I think that the ridiculousness of the deaths themselves in Final Destination style will make this a memorable thought about movie, because that is what makes it different. But the in-between of these twin conversations, of these delinquent father ideas, the missing father ideas, it's been done, and it doesn't add to the story because we're not leaning into that. So all of that to say, we really end with Petey, Hal's son, twisting the monkey. Another random person dies. We get a lot of random deaths. The very final death then is of actual Billy, right after he and Hal kind of decide that they're gonna be amicable. And that's that. That's really how the movie ends. So we get a snippet of this almost Grim Reaper character at the very end, after we're seeing all of this carnage caused by the monkey himself. So it is a little bit of a wink or a nod to Final Destination and the Grim Reaper-esque character there. But, you know, everything else, I can't say that I'm a big fan of this movie, and I can't say that I would necessarily recommend it either. Again, especially because I went into it with very high expectations. So, in terms of the rating for the storyline itself, I would give this a 3 out of 5. Again, it is very Death Note-esque. It is cool to kind of have that idea of I have control over who lives or dies, except with a level of ambiguity. So I think that that's pretty cool. For originality, I would give it a 3 out of 5. Again, this is based on a Stephen King short story. It's only 33 pages. Was released in 1980. The same thing that I said about Night Swim, of it being based on a very short story. I would have much preferred if this was a YouTube horror short, or even left as a short story, rather than stretched out into this feature film that did not play into anything that really mattered. So for originality, for that purpose, I will give it a 3 out of 5. For acting, I would give it a 4 out of 5. Everybody did a good job. Everybody did their jobs. I think it was fine. For production, I will give it a 4 out of 5. The one thing that I would like to note is this really did feel like it was filmed by somebody who just graduated from film school. A lot of the things that I had learned in film classes in college were things that I could point out in this movie, and a couple of tricks that I will give to you as well. So anytime that the camera is skewed left or right, doesn't really matter. Whoever is in that shot is in trouble. So pretty much everybody who dies is in a crooked shot at some point. So we already know ahead of time who's going to die. When the camera is angled up at somebody, this is a person who is in power. This is a person who in the moment is in control. Makes a lot of sense. Whenever we're looking down at somebody, this is somebody who has no control, somebody who really has no say in what's going on in the situation. So a lot of times, of course, that was Billy. You know, he doesn't have control. He doesn't have the ability to tell this monkey what he wants. And then a couple other things that popped up in the background. There were a lot of references to Goosebump books, which was kind of nice. There's a lot of references to the whole idea of fate, the whole idea of can we control fate? Is all of this meant to be? Are all of these deaths really accidental? We see that in the background a lot. For the actual locals of Maine, it is locals were born and die here. So we have a lot of background things that you can really point out in this story exactly what's going to happen, when it's going to happen, if you just pay attention. So for that purpose, I would give production a 3. This has a $10 million budget. There's not a whole lot of actors. There's not a whole lot of stuff going on. The deaths themselves are pretty good, but regardless, all of that to be said, I would give it a 3 out of 5. And then for scares as well, this is not a scary movie by any means. The gore is there, the absurdity is there. I would give it a 3 out of 5 just simply because of the gore aspect. So all of that put together, we get a 3.2 out of 5, which is a little bit better than what I would blindly score it. But all in all, to say, this is not a bad movie, but this is not something that I will recommend. This is not something that I will go back and watch again. In particular because of the twin thing, but also because of just, I really wish they did not lean into the comedy aspect of it. I really do wish that they went for more of the meaning of death, for can we control death? Can we fight death? Can we fight fate? That whole storyline, I think, could have propelled this movie to be really, really good. And I think it was a missed opportunity. So, thank you for listening to me ranting about this movie for almost 20 minutes. Let me know your thoughts in the comments if you liked this movie, if you haven't seen this movie, what are your expectations, any thoughts in between. As always, thank you for listening, and I'm looking forward to reading through some of your thoughts. Thanks for your support, and I will see you in just a couple days.